Hello, welcome in everybody. I just checked the time, it's 3:13 p.m. where I am, so good timing to just start this reading. Alright, so today going to be quite different to how I normally do the readings, not really so much like a pick a pile as in pick which pile calls to you most. We're really going to be focusing in on the inner child. The first pile is going to be focusing in on the shadow of the inner child, so maybe trauma healing. And it's just going to be whatever comes through. I'm not labeling it as in it has to be this, that, or the other. This is going to be just a message around that kind of aspect or area of life. And also we're going to look at the joy, the lighter attributes to the inner child as well. So maybe joy, it feels like joy. Honestly, it just keeps feeling of glee, joy, fresh, new, awe-inspiring, and like open. So hopefully these are going to be readings that really touch into what we can do with those energies, how we can utilize them in this new year. It's always interesting to me when I look at it, it's 2025. 25 years ago, we had the Y2K bug, right? The shift into the next millennium. All right, so I've already got two crystals here. Obviously, it's going to be a no-brainer. This one is the black obsidian, and we've got the howlite. They're both in kind of a cube-like shape. This one's just got a little bit cut off or filed down, but there we go. Now it looks more cube-like. This one's going to be the shadow or the trauma or the the healing, and this one's going to be the light, the expansion, the expression. So I'm still going to pick two piles. I don't think we necessarily need the pick a pile, but I do think it's kind of nice to get an overview or a theme of what each pile is going to be kind of represented by, and it may help you decide whether you watch one or the other or not at all. Okay, so we'll start off with the shadow. Okay, and we'll grab one for the light. Okay. All right, so let's see. So for the shadow, we have the goddess Freya and Amber, the Untamed. Interesting here, because I won't get too far into it, but goddess Freya is like the the mother, like, you know, the divine feminine, right, energy. And Amber, to me, it's not necessarily like a crystal, right? It's a tree sap, or like the life force or the blood of the tree. And to me, this is always about home. Generally, people will work with it for home protection, maybe many different things. But it feels like it's like from inside your blood, right? That's really where it's kind of coming in. It says untamed, so we'll have a look at this, especially if it's ruling your life, right? Try not to get too far into the reading, but already coming through. And for the light or the joy, you have Ascended Master Baba G and the diamond, so it shall be. Very light. Especially the diamond, interesting. Diamond's generally like clarity and clearness and transparency, right? So it's like really seeing the truth of the matter. Okay. Well, these are going to be the two piles. I'm going to leave in description below the timestamps. I think someone said you shouldn't say description below or something like that. I don't know what that was about, but YouTube had some little funny rules. I'm just going to ignore that completely because this isn't monetized anyway. So yeah, you can jump straight to your video and I'll see you in your reading. Hello, welcome to your reading. All right, so this is the shadow. So this could be like more of the heavier stuff. And with this card coming through, it immediately feels like this is the thing that could be still coursing through your veins, right? Untamed. Sometimes we let certain situations or beliefs take control of our lives and be like, well, I'm like this because of this. I can't change this because this is how I was treated. Or I talk to you like this because of this. You know, it's kind of like these excuses type thing. So we're really going to dig into that. I'm not saying that in a light way. I'm definitely saying it in like a fair way, right? This is untamed, and untamed is something or someone or even an animal that kind of runs wild. And if it's our shadow running wild and wreaking havoc on our personal life, our day to day, then we want to take a look at it, acknowledge it, heal it, process it, move forward, overcome it, right? Become more in command of, or more in authority of our lives. So that's where this is looking like. It may also have come from with the amber home. So it could be like, because that blood energy was like, I was getting the energy of blood. Could be like feeling like you have inherited something. But you are probably here, especially if you're watching this reading, because it's such a small community here, but like strong, right? Strong community, but small. Strong and mighty is coming to mind. But yeah, anyway, because it's like you're here, you may have come here as part of your multitude of many experiences you wanted to experience to break cycles, to overcome something, and this is your chance to not just overcome it by not repeating it, but also to heal it and let it go. So that's what's coming to mind with this card straight away. That's why I didn't want to get too into it with the originally when we were doing the shuffling. I will say as well, just for everyone, I'm listening to Good Vibes by Neural Beats on it's a YouTube channel. And it's called Heal Your Inner Child and Trauma. The frequency is 417 Hertz. It says release old past wounds, emotional detox. Which feels really true, right? This is to help you. None of this is to rehash, to get you into fight or flight. This is really to heal and help. You utilize the reading and the message however you will. That's up to you. Okay, let's have a look. So I'll grab some cards. This one's kind of a wild tarot deck. It's not really tarot. It's kind of an alternative tarot, I guess. So kind of oracle, but yeah, it's got some basis in there. It's just not quite. Yeah, you have the Chosen with the floral garland, and it says here, Ascension, great shifts and blessings. Really nice here. And we've still got your little crystal here. It's just in the corner because I want to save some space. I'm just going to grab a couple more cards. I know what I want to talk about here, because it's like you've really chosen this life for a particular purpose, like not a particular as in one specific thing, but since we're talking about the inner child too, it really keeps coming through with like overcoming a challenge, right? You're here to ascend yourself and ascend the, not so much ascend the people around you, but hold a vibration that maybe people around you, the collective, haven't seen before. So yeah, that's what's coming to mind. You also have nourishment, every monster's favorite food. And you've also got the universe, everything is nothing. This is definitely touching on seeing the bigger picture, finding healing and fruitfulness in the moment and in the time. Is it time to look at this? When is it time to look at this, if it is time? Do you still hold on to resentments or anything like that that does play havoc in your day-to-day, or that you do use towards yourself as like, oh, I said this because I was treated like that. I don't do what my parents or whatever happened to me to other people, but this is the kind of result. It's like, do I use this as an excuse or not? Like that just keeps coming to mind. I do like Driz because in the game here where he's from, he kind of just seems to be in a routine, right? He just goes along a particular path over and over and over again, and he's just doing his own thing. And when you stop and talk to him, he just says the same kind of thing. Like it's like routine. And so to start to unwind this garland, you have to start, like you have to begin. So it's going to take time, and potentially in this lifetime you don't get everything kind of sorted, but even if you heal something 1%, that's still 1% healed than it was before. So every step is a blessing, is how it's coming through. That's how you keep feeding yourself and growing. Like nourishment is what grows the fruit, right? And just because maybe you didn't get nourishment in some part of your life in the past and for whatever reason, that doesn't mean now that you can use that as an excuse to not flourish, right? Continue to flourish. You continue to find nutrients and vitamins and whatever to heal and grow further. It doesn't stop until we stop, right? Until this incarnation's done. So if you're here reading and watching, then you have the ability to continue. Okay. Excuse me for my voice. But it's really nice with, excuse me, it's really nice with nourishment next to Freya as well. Because Freya is the goddess, if Odin's the All-Father, then Freya's the All-Mother, right? Like, I guess. So it has that stereotypical what most religions, mythology, whatever, assign feminine energy to, which is like creation, birthing, growth, nurturing, care, softness. Like, take a kind hand to yourself. Don't be critical of yourself when you're going through this and trying to work through any of this. You're not being judged, and you don't need to be the self-critic either. Oh, okay, this card is almost flying out. Raccoon. It says, you have everything you need. So if you were ever, and even here, it's like almost like a picnic, right? Everything is laid out. You've got to a point in your life where you have the ability to maybe not heal this in one day and snap your fingers and it's done, but you have the ability to make the first steps. You have ability to make a step in this direction. Even if you've constantly been stepping, right? This is just like the reminder to congratulate yourself, reward yourself, and keep flourishing, keep going. Because the past can't be changed, right? Whatever's done is done. Whatever's happened has happened. We have to look back and accept what was done, and do what we need to do to gain back our confidence, our sovereignty in our life, especially if something's gone out of whack, so to speak. Because it feels like behind this crystal and these symbols is the light, so which will be the next kind of reading. So it'd be interesting to see what comes through for you. And even here, it's like these don't even have to be family, right? You still have a community, which is what you create or what you co-create with others. Even if it is yourself, like if you're happy, some people like to be solo, right? It's not about having to do this, that, or the other. It's finding good balance. And it just keeps coming back to sovereignty in life. Because here the chosen is, when I originally made this, was the chosen one. So not to be like biblical or anything, right? It's not like that. It's just more like the one who has come to make a very clear shift and change within their environment, within their country, within their family, within their home, within their body, within their like mindset, like whatever it is. It could be all those or multiple things. It can be as grand and as big as the country kind of shift, or it could be as like specific as like a change of mind shift in the family, where they break a cycle of hate, bigotry, racism, whatever it is. And that's where you've come in. Yeah, this is why I think the villages come through. Sometimes it does take a village. This could even be finding like-minded people or going to a place where like-minded people go to get help and healing, especially if this is heavy. But your community, your group, have a look at them. Are you able to go deep as you want to with them? Is it more surface level? Is that okay? Like sometimes surface level stuff is absolutely fine. We don't want to go always deep with people because it gets like very interesting but can be exhausting, right? So you know, pay attention to the people that are around you and your community, your family, because they are just as important, right? With whatever they've gone through and been through too. So you can always help each other in whatever way you can. Even having difficult conversations with your own children about certain things, and being real, right? Being honest and truthful is what's coming through. Even if it's a hard conversation. And even if they don't take it well, like if you're like talking to a parent, right, and you say, this really upset me back then, and this is how I felt, and they just blow it off, right? I'd be like, I'm not telling you because I need your approval or forgiveness or anything like that, or like apology, right? I'm just letting you know so you're aware that that didn't help, that kind of conversation. And so telling you because I'm moving on from it. And I just want you to know, that kind of thing. And if you can't do that, then don't do it, right? Just say to yourself, I want to move on from this. Yeah, because you're the one in command of this. You're the one that paints the, you're the one, it sounds really cheesy, but you're the one that paints the canvas of your future. You're here to paint it. If you let it go on autopilot and then complain about autopilot not making what you want, there's no one else to blame but your own self, right? So, start to get into more the creative energy of it. The inner child has many things that get like uplifted and squashed. And so what do you want to now reincorporate into your life? What do you want to squash now? Because it's not really helpful in this particular time in your life, right? All that. You've got the creative energy, you're the one in command. But no one can exactly just tell you that, right? You have to believe it within yourself. Okay. But yeah, it's a good time to start creating what you want, whether it is artistic, whether it is community-based, that's personal, like to you. It's better than running around and kind of like chasing your tail in a sense, or just going through the motions, right? In time, this will heal. In time, this will change. Time can help, but we also can help ourselves by making a clear intention to shift the stuff that we no longer want to hold on to. Set that as a main goal and then take the steps towards it, because sometimes it can be many, many steps, and that's okay. Better to make progress than to just leave it and see what happens. Okay, well, okay, lots of cards are kind of coming through. All right, I'm going to read these up, right? Interesting with more fruit. It's kind of a wild looking situation. I told you these cards are wild. This one is the Prince of Birds. You've got friendship, helpfulness, and gratitude. Yeah, gratitude is such a great energy to be in. We think manifesting, I don't know, a car or a house will change our entire lives, and it probably would in some way, right? But like really being in gratitude for what you have uplifts your energy into such a good position, instead of doing it from lack or from desperation or from greed. Like going into like this energy of gratitude and being grateful for what you have. That's one thing like that I do forget, like when but when you're eating, when you're going to bed, when you're like happy that you're in an enclosed space, right? A house or a bed, you've got something comfortable to sleep on. That kind of thing. It's just like a reminder of everyday basics, because when you get sick, then you are like, oh, I was so great. I should have been so much more grateful when I wasn't sick, because now I'm in the bed and I don't feel very well. That kind of thing. If we get on top of it, we don't need to get sick to remind us of being grateful. Here you've got the Knight of Books. This says arguments, new ideas, and teaching. It's an interesting one. This doesn't feel like arguments is always going to be something that you have to get into, right? If there's still someone you have bitterness about, whether they were an alcoholic or something and they may have gotten over it, but they're still like issues there or whatever. You know, it could be many things. We're talking about the inner child. There's so much that shapes us as children that we really hold on to certain things that are generally the difficult stuff, right? Not always the like good stuff. And it's kind of tough when you have a parent or someone who is like really good sometimes and then really hard sometimes to be with or around. Because you can see like they're the best of this person and the worst of this person type thing, which can be tough. But that's where this is coming through. New ideas in teaching, you know. This, for some people, it could lead to a plan or an idea of, it's interesting, this one's coming through because it's like new ideas and this is like the wayfinder, right? And you're finding path, the path ahead, choices and adventure. It's like, this could lead, like this healing could lead to assistance and support and even help. Like if you're better for yourself, you're better for other people type thing. So if you have family, friends, that kind of stuff, your community, you're able to be more supportive and there for them in those kind of situations. And sometimes, you know, good boundaries, of course. You can't be there for everyone all the time. You got to find a good balance with that. So this is like the physical and this is like the ideas. This is like, how do I shift some of my mindsets? How do I shift things that have caused grievance, right, in the past? Ooh, okay. Since this one wants to clap out. This is a wild one. Again, you've got the King of Birds. This is purification, work, unending activity. Interesting with unending activity with here, like when I was talking about Driz. Driz goes around, does his circuits, just keeps going. Like that's his thing. He's kind of in a cycle and it can be broken, but it doesn't feel like he's ready to like do it himself. And here you can see this bird eating people and it's going into this bubble thing. So it's like what you consume or what you resonate is what energy you set as your, I guess, as your signature signal. It's like what you tune your radio station to. Is it like, you know, spouting, someone on the radio spouting like angry stuff all the time? Like, is that the resonance you want to vibrate to? Or is it something else? Is it like, I don't know, classical music, or is it like rock music, or is it some disco, whatever, you know, whatever. It's really up to you. This is your choice. You've been given, like, you got the creator card, which is right next to this one, this purification. It's going to take effort and work, right? You don't want to keep going in a cycle that doesn't heal. Better to start unwinding the threads than to just continue holding on to a wound, because the fear of the wound being bigger than the healing, or like because it has to get real before it gets healed. It's just like, why would you carry around 50 kg of stuff that you don't need to, when, you know, you might have to look at it, take a moment and sit down and stop and put it all down and look at it, and then you get upset about it. But at least like go through a process of letting go, you know, and then afterwards you'll feel much lighter. You're not carrying 50, you might be carrying, I don't know, 20 or 10. All right. Also have the Baron of Books. This is theft, concealment, running away. Running away. I'm only laughing because it's like, it's such an easy thing to do, right? It's like when people say, oh, but I don't want to talk about that, or we don't talk about this person, or we don't talk about this thing. You know, it can cause a lot of grievance in other people, right? It's like, I don't want to talk about that. I'm not saying you should always talk about that being whatever it is, the issue. Maybe it's too soon, or you want to, but you know, you could even say, I don't want to talk about that because it's not a good time for me right now, or it's heartbreaking, right? It gives like not an excuse, but like a reason. So to give yourself some time to stop and think about it later, or to be like, no, this isn't a good time because I have other things going on right now that need my focus, and when I have time for this, I'll come back to it. It's making kind of like a promise to yourself that you know that this is a pain point or an issue and you'll come back to it in time. However you release this is up to you. Just be mindful of what you're consuming and what you're telling yourself as a story, and what you are doing and what you are actually just trying to avoid. Okay, and last card, you have the Ascent of the Blessed. This is really sweet. Really nice card. It says rebirth, recognition, assistance, and promotion. When we're talking about this is like finding the light, and the next reading is going to be the light, right? So it might even show some of you where you're headed towards. You know, if you want to work through some of the stuff, some of you have probably already worked through many of your inner child things, but really check in to see how it's dictating your life and what is causing pleasure and what is causing discomfort. Because when you can identify those things, you can make a choice of 1, what to do with them, 2, where they come from, and 3, kind of like where you want to be, right, moving forward from here. All right, I'm going to leave that there. I know it's kind of like a quick one, but I feel like some of my videos are very, very long, and I want to kind of power through them a bit more in this new year, and in a way that honors the reading and the messages and you as the viewer and listener. But this overall does touch on many different things. It's like, what are you consuming, right? What is here? Everything that you have in front of you at this moment, this year, is a good time for transformation and growth. There's like a new wayfinder here. There's like an ascension, right? So generally talks about like growth and overcoming and moving forward and putting yourself in a position that creates a more comfortable and easier future. So yeah, I'm going to leave that there for you, but thank you for letting me read for you today. Hopefully you have enjoyed this one. Stick around, because after I clear this, we'll go into the inner child and joy. It really feels like joy, light, that kind of thing. Okay, take care. Hello, welcome to the reading. So this is the light attribute, right? This is the higher energy, I guess, from the inner child. So this will touch on the past, as all inner child generally does, unless you're watching this as like a 5-year-old, then I don't know how you're here, but welcome. You know, this is like that light that may have been dimmed at some stage, or even that has been forgotten, that needs to be reimagined, especially if you're finding, you know, mundaneness or boredom in this lifetime. So this could be the one for you. This card is the Ascended Master Babaji, which is super interesting, right? He's kind of like an interesting character, a teacher, a guru, I guess you would say. There's stories of him still being alive in the Himalayas somewhere. In my mind, that feels like spirit, or a spirit, or like an ascended spirit, right? Just roaming around and popping up when he needs to for certain people's journeys, or for the collective, who knows. But anyway, it's a very interesting kind of story. And we've got diamond with "so it shall be." This feels like accepting what has been, and accepting what is now is truth, and then deciding, what do I do with this clarity, with this like understanding, with this time, with this effort, with whatever I've got at the moment? What do I want to do with this money even within my life? Do I want to start trying something new? Do I want to get that energy of newness, freshness, new beginnings, right? It's kind of like a bit of a roll on from the last pile, but even if you didn't watch that when you're watching this one, the last 2 cards in the last pile were touching on the last 2 cards at the end of the draw was like the Wayfinder, so it's like the full card, I guess you could say, in tarot, like that person who's finding a new path, journeying, traveling, and the other card was the Ascended. It's like that understanding and moving on. So this is like a continuation of that, it feels, is very true. And this is with the diamonds, like finding clarity, getting understanding of what baggage I'm holding, what joys I'm holding, what's in my aura or energy field, right? That kind of message is coming through. All right, I'm going to start a little different. So we've got some similar cards, some different cards. There were a lot of decks that really wanted to come through. I ended up choosing this one over another. Okay, so let's grab this one. We've got Kamael. This is Alchemy. And we're holding into Mars. Mars is going to be an interesting planet coming up. I think not just because in reality there's like people or, you know, NASA, Musk, whoever, trying to get to Mars, right? Trying to colonate it, or like that's the, I guess, idea in the future, land on it, that kind of thing. But also Mars is playing an interesting role in different parts of this year. If you look at it astrologically, Mars is always seen as kind of like war, right? And I guess war and anger and like force is like the shadow part of Mars. And in the light, it's overcoming challenges or not putting up with being told how to do things or how to live, or like who owns my body, or you know what I mean, or making decisions about me. It's like, no, I don't need you to tell me how to live my life, right? So that's where the energy is coming through. And I know that I believe there's another planet, which is Eris, which is like the sister of Mars, that's moving into another sign or something like that, or shifting in a way. And whatever's happening, again, not an astrologer, she's kind of like uncompromising, right? The story is she wasn't invited to the gods and goddesses wedding, so she crashed it. She turned up anyway. She had like a golden apple. She threw it into like threw it somewhere and was like, for the fairest. And so all the goddesses were fighting over it because they want to be the fairest, right? And she just keeps going, and she kind of caused like a lot of havoc and a bit of destruction. And so to me, in the light, it's like having all that havoc and having all that kind of chaos can sometimes show what our priorities are. It's like, if I threw this golden apple over here and all these people are fighting for it, it kind of shows like people's priorities, right? It's like, I want to one up or be better or be seen as the highest. And while I have no issue with like competition and stuff like that, with like sports and things, better than what we used to do with like gladiators, right? And slavery and, you know, making people fight or going through beheadings or killings in the street type thing. It's just an interesting kind of shift. And maybe this is like far beyond that, far beyond the physical desires and needs. This is like co-creating with spirit even, or with like-minded people, finding your home community. All right, that was an interesting one. I didn't know I was going to go down that path, but there we go. Okay. Yeah, I'll take this one. Nice, you've got the Pioneer coming through. Pioneer in the light talks about passion for doing and creating what has not been done before. Now, that doesn't mean you have to invent, I don't know, a way of I don't know, energy, right? Energy that doesn't use fossil fuels. Like, it's not saying you have to do something crazy like that, but like that, you know, that childlike imagination, especially it's like high feminine energy in the creative sense and the conceptualization of like ideas. It's almost like, instead of like narrowing your vision into like, let's be practical, it's kind of like, let it be open and wild and see what comes up, see what resonates. Maybe some wacky and wild thing comes up and it just makes you laugh and then it goes, because it's not practical, right? We want practicality and creativeness, of course, in whatever we're going to do or decisions we're going to make. But that's kind of how it's feeling. It's like maybe breaking the mold for you by extracting or like rescuing, or whatever you want to call it, the part of you that's has that joy and light, because that's how you can find new ways of radiating love energy, especially if you like do light work, right? That could be part of it. It's just to reimagine yourself rather than be dictated or controlled by the past or even by the present. Just because someone says they're going to take your rights doesn't mean they will take your rights, right? That's just talk. You can do what you need to do to help yourself and take command over it, instead of reliance on this entity or this leader or this person. You know, you're here to be sovereign. This is also touching on community with this one. I feel like community, people around you are really important. Maybe just to check in with, to recognize, to see what's fake and what's not. Especially if it's like, it doesn't mean it's fake, right? But if you have a lot of group of people that always talk about like work stuff and it's just like, oh, I'm getting this or I'm going on this holiday, like, I mean, it's nice, but it's like, it's very surface level, right? We are the people that you can have real deep connections and conversations with. Do you have that in your life? Is that something you want to foster and nurture and create? You know, this is all very broad, but it's very up to you. Like this clarity with this ideas is having clean vision, clear vision. Whoop whoop. I mean, here we go. Observer asking questions, collecting data. I say whoop whoop because I'm like, what else do you need to hear, right? This is definitely having the higher view, taking either the rose-tinted glasses off or even just the doom and gloom glasses off and getting back into play and imagination, right? You can see the same kind of faces in this balloon form, as in the stretchy form, and is also in this like platform or world form, right? So it's kind of seeing things as like in a way that we wouldn't normally see them. It's very imaginative and creative. And why not have like magic and fun back into your life? Why not have that joy, play, and wonder back into life? Just because we get older doesn't mean we have to be conform, right? We're not robots. So yeah. Anyway, that's how that's coming through. So let's see what else we have today. You've got the ninja and the lucky coin. This is stealth, auspiciousness, and gain. It's always a funny card to me. I mean, even though I created it, but it's kind of like he's gone in to reclaim something that's his. That's basically it. Or even to get what he's got and then decide what he's going to do with that. You can see here it's spilling out, but it's not so much to take something and claim it for their own. It's almost like to create some kind of like upheaval or to shake things up, things that need to be shaken, especially if we look at society, right, where there's like the rich up here, then there's like, I guess, the middle class and poor, right? And then there's like bands and everything all within there. There's like millionaires, billionaires, and no doubt we're coming up to a point where there's going to be trillionaires, which I think is ridiculous, but it's what the collective have kind of like just accepted in the world, so you know, you got to live with it. But yeah, you know, that kind of thing. That's where this is coming in. Sometimes that needs to be shaken up because if it's unfair, it's unfair. Okay, all right, this one. You've also got the mother and vampire ashes. It says care, attached, and awareness. This one comes up with many different things because she is devoted and caring and looking after her children, but has invited something into the house that is, or has brought into the house. Like, you know how people talk about, do I have an attachment to this? And it's like, well, do you? You know what I mean? It's like, do you feel like you are attached to that and feel like you need that kind of energy around? Because if you don't, you can detach from it. It's not always this like, I mean, I would say 99% of the time, it's not always a demon or something like that is latched onto you and that's why everything's bad. It's because you're holding on to something that's causing these problems that you haven't released, right? So don't invite things into your house that are toxic. I don't care if they're like parents or anything like that. If I've been watching the show Friday Night Dinner, I think it's called. It's like a comedy in the UK that finished up in 2020 or hasn't come back anyway. And there's like this grandmother who comes in and she's called like horrible grandma, and she says all this horrible shit. She just keeps saying horrible things, and no one's really like pointing out and dealing with it, right? They're just kind of like accepting it. It's like, you don't have to accept that. If this person is horrible, don't invite them into your house. Tell them to go somewhere else. It's not your job to look after these people if they're not helping themselves, right? If they're not dealing, or if it's like the energy is not great. I know everyone's like, oh, but this situation, I don't really care. It's not your job. Okay. Because that's going to be holding the inner child, and the inner child now is worried about, or this little child is worried about what this thing's going to do. And this child's like, hey, 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 look, there's this in the background. You don't need to hold on to old ashes. Like, it's almost like that this energy is dead or is finished, and it doesn't need to cloud this like great, imaginative, vibrant, joyous inner child. Oh, okay. Because here you can make progress, basically, here. It also looks like a long corridor, right? This is it's going to be a journey of self-belief and rediscovery of self. I'm going to read these upright as well. They're going to be mixed because I just realized I just mixed them. So I'm going to read them all upright. If there's anything where they look like they came out reverse and I need to speak to it, I will, but I'm just going to stick with upright for now. Got the Devil card, holding on to old habits. In the Shadow one, there was Driz, and not that the universe is everything is nothing kind of type energy is necessarily means like going in a cycle, but this is what the Devil card is, right? It's like breaking a cycle, and you might have healed a lot of stuff, excuse me, from the inner child in the past, but this is really, with the Devil card coming through, it's like, that might be great to have done that, but what has locked up and what has from the past that hasn't been reimagined or brought back in, or that little inner child that found awe and joy in the rain, or just in like walking through nature and looking at the plants grow, right? Where has that gone? If that's what you want to bring into, you don't have to bring it back in, but it's like, this is your choice, right? You have sovereignty over your life. So identifying where this is, the belief in the magic is gone, or like the belief in yourself is gone, or the like just going and doing something fun that you haven't done in a long time, like, I don't know, riding a roller coaster or something. I don't know, whatever it is for you. No, why can't you do that? Absolutely can. We just make up excuses. We're too busy. We don't have this. We don't have that. If you don't have the ability or coin or whatever to do something, what can you do? Like, what is within your capability? Doesn't have to be a big thing. Doesn't have to be skydiving if you can't afford to skydive, right? Roller coaster, can't afford to roller coaster. I don't know, pay mini part or something. Just go do it, even if it's by yourself or with someone. Just have fun. All right, Four of Cups and Princess of Swords. I like the Princess of Swords compared to like the traditional page of swords. The Princess of Swords doesn't have that cunning energy. She does have that intelligence, but she's still in the process or in the mindset of beginner mindset, like, and the ideas and creation mindset. She's like thinking about what she could do, how she should, not how she should speak exactly, but what things she wants to speak into truth. She's still learning and being open to new learnings, instead of being like, oh, I've got to this point in my life, so now I'm set, right? I've reached the peaks of what I'm capable of. And it's like, no, there's like limitless. So if you want to bring back a part of you, or integrate a part of you, or say something or do something, then do it. You have complete ability to do that. Four of Cups to me kind of feels like excuses, especially when all the cups here are full. Usually 3 cups are down, 1 cup's up. But it's here, it's showing only 1 cup can be seen because the other 3 cups are growing. So dig deeper, look deeper. The Four of Cups is always a deep dive. It's not a shallow surface. Like, you can see 1 and it's like, oh, but I thought I planted 4, right? And so you get into like anger or fear, when really just below the surface, it's there. It's not outside of yourself, it's within. Okay. King of Cups. I don't really have too much to say about the King of Cups. I love the King of Cups because it's emotional maturity, and that's such a nice energy when it comes in a masculine form, right? It's making choices and decisions and putting effort into things that bring emotional pleasure, being able to see through facades and smile. basically all I got for Mr. Blue King. You've got the Five of Cups here too. This is when it's looking like it's all over, right? Look, if there is like any emotional kind of attachments or still grieving kind of things, take your time with it. You're not on a time, you're not on a schedule of like, this needs to be done by this time, this done by that time. It's like, no, things don't get done in this life, there's other lives. If everything that you plan for in this life gets done, then it does. Like, it's not like you're graded at the end, you get an A, a B. This isn't human world, this is like spirit world. So take your time with it, especially if it's challenging. Especially if belief and trust in self to create is challenging. Okay, and last card, you got the Fool card. I love the Fool card coming through when the Wayfinder was up here in the last reading, because it's like making decisions with this one specifically, making decisions and choices that are going to add some levity, I think is the word. Levity? Levity? It feels like levity is coming through and I don't really know what that means, but I think it's like lightness or like joy or peace, right? Look at this. He's looking kind of crazy and he's got his dog, but he doesn't really care. He's just like doing his thing. And that's kind of where I believe this is coming through. You can still be kind of kooky and wacky, and it's in a way that's actually like truthful and joyous and fun, right? It doesn't have to be serious or like sarcastic, right? Or even snippy or that kind of energy. It can be just joyous and fun. But this is about believing in your brain, especially if you're someone who doesn't believe in their abilities, brain, or consciousness to be able to create. It's like, no, this is up to them, or them. And some people get into a point of like almost like defending their like lack, right? It's almost like, how dare you say I can do this? I can't do anything type thing. And it's like, okay, well, I guess you create, to be honest, you create your reality. So if you really fully believe that nothing can ever be done and you can never do anything beyond this point that you've reached, then that's your reality and that's your truth because you've created it. But don't look out and blame others for a belief that you've decided to take as truth. So yeah. Anyway, kind of like a bit of a hard hit read at the end, but it's really, just get real. You've got great ability to create something that's going to actually help you move forward, and not just for the sake of moving forward, for the sake of bringing peace, joy, lightness. Levity keeps coming up into life, and the Full card coming through at the end is just like, your journey is set in the way that you decide it's set from this point forward. So take it and go forward and gain what you want to gain, experience what you want to experience, release what you want to release, and co-create with that which serves you and maybe even serves others as well. All right, I'm going to leave that there. I don't know, I don't really have anything else to say. These cards you can get in the link below. They are a Kickstarter. And also you can get these cards too. Zach is also a reader / wild creative person who has cards. So you can go check that out. In the description below, there'll be a link and you can just buy them off this website thing. So go have a look at those if you really are interested as well. Other than that, I'm just going to leave this reading. Thank you so much for letting me read for you today. I know it was kind of like a bit of a long reading. Really lovely cards coming through and nice messages. If you have any questions, just pop it down in the description below. I appreciate it. And subscribe if you want to subscribe and get more readings, right? Otherwise, take care of yourself, be kind to yourself, look after yourself, and I will see you in the next reading.